Okay, so we've got our beautifully cleaned, washed horse with a little bit of oil on to help us clip. And before we start, we need to consider safety for you and the horse. So we're going to assume that I have never clipped this horse before, and the way I like to start is always on a large muscle area. I like to start on the shoulder. Obviously, if you don't know the horse, you don't want to start at the back end, just in case they might get startled and try to kick you. I always like to show the horse the clippers with them turned off, make sure he doesn't have a stress reaction, and then I like to run my clippers over the body and see what sort of reaction he has. Again, looking at the ears and the eyes to make sure that he is happy with the situation. Once I am happy with that, I then turn them on. Again, we are looking for some sort of reaction. Is he okay? Is he startled? This guy's pretty used to clipping, so hopefully he should be a good boy. And then the final thing I would do is I actually put the clippers on my arm and run it down towards the muscle so that he can feel the vibrations down my arm first. And this will give you a very good tell as to whether when the clippers hit the horse, whether he's going to be a bit spooky. So we've done our safety check, and now I'm going to start clipping. And I always like to start on the shoulder and move back, and I leave the neck until later on. Your first few strokes are going to be against the grain of hair, or the way the hair lies, and you want your strokes to be sort of medium. You don't want them extra long, and you don't want them short and choppy, but either long, too short will cause more track lines. So the first few strokes I'm going to show you are against the hair. Okay, I'm going to brush that off. When it comes to a saddle patch, that is completely natural choice. Your own personal choice. I actually just tend to remove the saddle, and I do leave a slight bit of hair around the withers, and this is to stop from any ingrowing hairs that I have actually, it's actually occurred to me from the blankets and from the saddle pads rubbing and then causing a lot of pain for the horses. So I do not like to go straight up across the withers. I like to leave a small patch. As you are clipping, I advise that you keep your free hand on the horse. This again is another safety feature, so that should the horse move and become a little stressed, you will actually feel this in your free hand and be able to have your own reaction to put yourself in a safety place. So just a couple of things when dealing with the tricky areas, which I always find the stifle, the belly and the elbow. No real tricks here, except make sure you go steady. Again, going back to always having a hand on the horse so you can feel what the horse is doing. Running your hand underneath before you start there, letting the horse get used to the clippers. And try, again, it's very important that you keep yourself in a safe position, okay? Obviously, I always feel the closer I am to the horse, the safer I am. And when it comes to the stifle area and the belly, I actually like to hold on to the tail. Number one, again, I don't want it swishing in my face. And then hopefully, if they were all as good as Ollie, we'd all be happy clippers. Just go slow. This piece of skin here is very sensitive to a lot of horses, so if you do need to do this, I recommend, if they're sensitive, that you can use a smaller set of clippers, maybe the Andis Pulse Ions. They're very quiet and don't vibrate as much. That would be a possibility there. When it comes to going underneath the belly, I like to have my hand on top, again standing close to the horse, so if they do kick, you're not at the tip of the kick, which is more painful than if you're up the front. Again, I can feel exactly where he's going to go. And then you've just got to be pretty bendy. And go along the natural hairs. And again, you'll notice that I've reversed the direction to get rid of those lines. And come forward. And that should mostly get the belly. Are we good? Okay, so if you've done 3/4 of the body, you should definitely be oiling your clippers by now. You want to brush off the excess hair, front and back, and then make sure you use the manufacturer's oil. You want to do this whilst they're running. And remember, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they do not use enough oil and they use too much Cool Lube. Cool Care is only for before and after you have finished clipping to disinfect the clippers. So remember, you should always have plenty of oil throughout your clipping phase. Wipe the excess off. I'm now going to show you the lines on the leg should you be doing a hunter clip and you want to leave the legs on. So for the front leg, you want to go from the elbow and follow this muscle line where the leg joins the shoulder and end up with a V. So when you are down by the elbow, you want to make sure that you stretch this skin out. And be very careful, this can be sensitive skin. And the outer edge, you just follow along. You want to try and do one smooth cut. As you can see, his hair here actually comes down more this way, so the clippers didn't want to actually take this off. So I now have to turn my clippers this way, trying to get a straight line. So there's your outside front leg. And then for the inside, this can be tricky because of this whirl here, and all horses are different. You do have to obviously go against the hair here. First, I'm going to create a point, an upside down V. We're going to go here. You can see my line. So I'm just going to do one stripe. And then I'm just going to follow this, do short strokes following this down. And then you have to turn your clippers upside down to get the wall. Okay, so for the hind leg, same thing. You're going to do a diagonal line from the bottom of their flank going down to the bottom of the hamstring. A nice straight line. If you can, we're going to do it in one swoop, going from the back of the leg to the stifle, the top of the stifle. This can be a very ticklish area. You do want to be careful in this area. Always run your hand down there. If you don't know the horse, if you know the horse is ticklish when grooming, don't be surprised if he does not want you in this area too. So watch yourself, be safe. Never be at the back of the horse to start. You basically have to maneuver yourself so that you can be at the side. I like to hold on the tail so that the tail doesn't get in the way of the clippers. That can be a bad thing. If you would like to braid up the tail, some people like to braid up the tail and put a tail bandage on just to keep it all out of the way. You're totally welcome to do that. Again, I want a V, so I'm actually going to do the inside stroke first. I don't know if you can Okay, so I'm actually gonna, this is where I want my V to start. I'm actually gonna do the stroke up first. And I can take off this hair. And hopefully there you can see that it's now given me an edge to start my line going up to the top of the stifle. So I'm then going to change my direction. Again, I've still got the tail. I'm going to join that V and just one swoop. And hopefully you can see in that one swoop I've taken, that's got that straight line. One of the smaller details you need to remember when you're doing a body clip or hunter clip is the V at the top of the tail. It's just for aesthetics, so that it makes the tail look like they're all in one and then you don't just chop the tail off. It is important to have the tip of the V in line with the dorsal spine. So again, as I always say, take off less before you take more. We can always take more. So we're just going to run up. Again, if you don't know the horse, try very hard to stand to one side and then just take a peek to see if it's straight. I'm hoping that looks straight on the video.